Hey, welcome replay viewers. If you're here on the replay, say that you're on replay. And I want to know your feedback. What do you think about this topic that I'm about to cover? So I'm in my office. It's afternoon. My dogs are heavily panting, and it just is. So everything I do is sponsored by Leroy, Clementine, and Rocky. What I want to talk about today is why I will not use this effective coaching strategy and lessons from real life coaching. So I just got off of a call with my apprentice. If you're here, say hi. If you're a Soli, drop a yellow heart. And I just got off a call with my apprentice. It was an awesome call. And she has 3 months left in her agreement. And it was perfect because she's just gotten back from a nice long vacation, and I'm actually starting this 90-day plan, and I invited her to come and create her own version alongside me as we, for the next 90 days, make a commitment to do something once a week as far as content for our audience and consistency. And so we set out the plan and all this other stuff. It's all sounds really good. And then as we get to the end of the call, we get to the space of now, what resistance is going to come up for you and how will you overcome that resistance? And I had this flashback to when I was coaching for the real estate company a long time ago. And one of the things, hey, I'm so excited to share this story. One of the things that they did all the time was like, and to keep you accountable, I'm going to have you write me $1,000 check to the political opponent. And if you don't do it, hey, Megan, if you don't complete what you say you're going to complete, then I'm going to send that check to your political opponent, or I'm going to cash that check, or there was always some form of punishment. There was some form of punishment. And I told my client about that. And I said, listen, it's really important. It sounds like it's really important to you to actually do this work. And we've talked about the reasons that you might get derailed. But I said, I don't want to motivate you with punishment. I don't want to motivate you with shame, blame, or guilt. And here's the deal, y'all. That works. If I said, hey, I'm going to take a check and write it to this political thing or this, or you're going to have to write me a $10,000 check. And if you don't do the work, I'm going to cash it and you're going to be out that money. That pain motivation works. But what I told my client, I said, I don't want to play that game with you. I'm not into that game. And I don't think it serves, because from here, for everything we do, and are subconsciously motivated by is a lot of times are not enough and the punishment. And that is not what I want to create or call out in my clients. And so I told her, I said, listen, I want your dreams and your accomplishment to drive you. And I realized that taking a stick and beating you would probably get the results you want. And I am not willing to be a coach who does that. So I am asking you to choose. Hi, Richard. I am asking you to choose you and your dreams. I am asking you to choose 13 weeks of saying yes to this experiment. I am asking you, when you feel doubt, to choose you. I don't want you to choose the pain of me sending some check. I don't want to use the pain of a threat to motivate my clients. And here's the thing. I know that shame, blame, and guilt it hits deep inside people, but I am working to cultivate something different in my people. I am cultivating self-leadership. I am cultivating a different kind of self-accountability. My clients, those of you that are here, y'all know that I do not do external accountability. I believe that external accountability is different from partnership. So one of the things Christy and I talked about is like, I'm committed to this for me. I'm committed to it 100%. And I would like to invite you to come along this journey with me and what's possible if we do this. And we talked about the things that after 13 weeks, not even the long-term possibility, but after 13 weeks. And by the way, Soulies, we're going to bring this to the whole group. So for the next 90 days, those of you that want to participate in this 90-day project with something once a week, and we all commit to do it, anybody that wants to. But we're committing to put on our pro panties and do this. In 13 weeks, you will have 13 pieces of valuable content for your audience. You will have touched your tribe members, whatever you want to call them, 13 times with something that helps them. You will have also established credibility and authority. So this is just one example that we're using. And there's a lot of things that could get in my client's way: her everyday life, her health, her animals, her kids, all these other things. And the reality is there's always stuff. And I am not going to use the strategy of whipping my clients with shame, blame, guilt, or punishment to motivate them. And I know a lot of us are used to creating success and results out of fear. I've done it for a long time. I create money because I don't want to be broke. That is called playing not to lose. And I want to teach my clients to play for their win, not even my win. And I told Christy today, I said, here's the deal, Christy. At the end of the day, I know after 13 months of being my apprentice, if all we ever did was talk and hem and haw, and you didn't implement one thing in 13 months of all the conversations we had, I absolutely stand by the value of our agreement and a value of the money, massive amounts of money that you have spent. I also know that if you implement it, not for me, because it doesn't make a difference to me, I've been paid, right? And I am not responsible for Christy's results. Christy is responsible for Christy's results. And when I see her as powerful, not only do I know she will get something valuable from the calls, and when I call that out from her, I also know that she will choose her level of implementation and engagement. I cannot care about her results more than she does. And I see that happen all the time in coaching. A friend of mine told me about their health coach. And the health coach was like, if you don't trust me, if you don't do my plan, if you don't do what I say, then I'm going to have to fire you. That is all ego. And it is, I'm not saying that there aren't coaches that do this, because I believe that there are a lot of coaches out there that do this, but I am taking a stand for pulling out the decider in my clients. I'm already a decider in my life, but my clients aren't living my life. So for me to put the self-accountability on them, it only creates a crutch for the way they've always been living. And I am requiring something new. So I will not use the effective coaching strategy of shame accountability, punishment accountability, etc. My clients know, Christy knows what's at stake. She knows in her own heart what's at stake if she doesn't at least go for her dreams. She knows what's at stake if she doesn't give herself the same love that she gave raising her children. She knows it. And that's all we have to tap into and remind to. And there is no shame, blame, and guilt vibrate near death. And I am not here to create death to self in my clients. I'm not here, look at my face, gross. I'm not here to do that. I'm also not here to blow smoke up their ass, but I am here to call forward, and yes, this stuff is not easy. Yes, it takes time and effort, but if you remember that you're fucking resilient, if you remember that you're brilliant and that you're worth it, and if you give yourself permission to be a shitty beginner and go, you will look up in 13 weeks and you will not be a beginner anymore. And I'm just using the example from the call we had with Christy, and it was so fun at the very end. I said, I want your dreams and your desires to be your motivation. And I get the self-doubt that comes in with dreams and desires. And the shortcut to accomplishing dreams and desires is the bullshit of shame, blame, and guilt. But I'm telling you, that is the recipe for unsoulful success. So you want to know why people have all this money and have all this success, and on the inside, their soul is dying? Because they didn't do it for themselves. They did it for shame, blame, and guilt. They did it for it was interesting. Christy just got back from vacation and I was like, I'm so glad you had a great time. It was so fun to see your pictures. And she was like, you're the first coach. Like a few years ago, I worked with the coach and they said, I have permission to share this, by the way. They said, when I told them I was going to Europe for 3 weeks, they were shaming me because I wasn't showing up to the calls. And when Christy said, I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks, I said, have a great time. Christy knows how to use what we do together. I'm not the boss of Christy. I'm not the boss of my clients. I am calling forward my clients being self-leaders and self-creators. And I am here just to remind them of who they are, and they create effective success. Now, here's the thing. I wish I could say it happened faster. I guarantee you, if I told every single one of my clients that if they didn't create the results they wanted in XYZ, I would drain their bank accounts, a lot of them probably would. But you know what? They'd hate themselves and they'd hate me in the process and they'd hate their creation in the process. And that is not the game I'm playing. And so especially for those of you who are coaches, I'm so curious what you think. And I hear that a lot of time. Oh, will you hold me accountable? And I always tell my clients, no, I will not hold you accountable. I will hold you able. And then you will figure out. I always say my accountability is my head going to sleep on my pillow. And my accountability, one of my accountabilities is my bank account. I use an external number of meeting my own needs and my family's needs and my own goals. Like, because I said I want to do this, that's my own accountability. But there is no one on earth that can say, well, if you don't do this, I'm going to give this money to this political person, or I'm going to quit coaching you, or I'm going to cash your check. Please. And if you are responding to shame, blame, and guilt in coaching, I get it. We've all been there. It is very natural in this society. Parents do it. If you don't blank, you're going to have timeout. We use punishment. In dog training, this is one of the things I learned is that positive reinforcement. Here's the thing. I have had 3 aggressive dogs. My first dog, Hank, long time ago, I went straight to I happened to live in the same city of the positive behavior expert. He was horrible with human beings, but amazing with aggressive dogs. And he would not use negative behavior reinforcements. And I had a dog that was extremely aggressive that ended up being 13 years old and was able to function in life with human beings, with babies, with other dogs, because that man taught me how to respond and coach my dog in partnership through positive reinforcement. And I am taking a stand. I am so tired of the negative reinforcement. Because what happens when you work with a dog through negative reinforcement, you are leaving the shame and the punishment energy in their body, and that is ready to explode at any moment. And I believe that we humans are the same way. If you are done, I am not avoiding pain. Pain exists. We have enough pain as exists. But if we could recognize that we are worthy to create going forward without shame, blame, and guilt, then we have true autonomy. And I am working to create autonomous clients who live better life and better work through soulful success of their own choosing. That is fucking powerful. I'm already powerful for me. I don't need to be the power behind my clients. My clients are powerful. Okay, I just see that there's been a lot of people here. Hi, Ashley Woods. Yes, 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 for you and your dreams. I'm so glad that resonated, Christy, and thank you for being so cool about me sharing this because I thought it was really profound. Hello, Lauren. I just signed up a new client today. I told him I would not hold him accountable. I will have fun exploring his creativity. Exactly. Congratulations on your new client. I think that is awesome. Richard is a new soully. I know that it's different. And if you're a coach and you're used to using that kind of, it might not be that direct. It might be a very indirect, right? Like if you don't get this done by the next call, then we won't have our session. I get it. That's the way we're kind of trained. And I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I think that sometimes it's interesting. Sometimes I will get the backlash of that. Like, oh, this is not working with Allison. I'm not here to work your business. I'm not here to work your business. And you as a coach aren't there to work your clients' businesses. And clients, your coach is not there to do it for you. Your coach is not there to shame, blame, and guilt you into performance. What is performance if it isn't soulful? And so I want you to consider, what is your version of soulful success? If you were driven by your desires and not by your fears, if you were driven by love and service, and I tell you what, I've been playing this money game. Y'all know me. I like, my brother called me one day and said, how'd you break the crow money curse? And I used to have these beliefs that there was this thing we did. We made a lot of money and we made no money. And I have used money as an outer indicator of inner work. And I tell you what, when I was creating money from fear, it was up and down and up and down. And when I learned to create out of joy, it happened to create consistent income. Who knew? Right? And so I just wanted to take a stand for that today, especially off the call with Christy. Those of you that are soulies, we're going to create a really simple summer game so I'm doing something, I'm creating something new every single week. I'm going to create one thing, and then I'm going to find 3 ways to make that one thing reworkable, like repurposed. And I'm going to be So I'm going to create this, essentially help you with a marketing plan, and we're going to do it as a community if you want to. And for 13 weeks, that's exactly how long the next 3 months is. So for the next quarter, 13 weeks, we can do anything for 13 weeks. We're going to experiment with giving our authority and credibility and teaching to our audience in the platform of choice. And in doing that, we are going to show up consistently. Where is it in my journal? I wrote this a couple of months ago. I love this. We are going to create valuable content and share regularly to establish credibility and authority. You can do it, but not from the sidelines. And I know how easy and how exhausting it is to get in the sidelines. I know how exhausting it can be to be overwhelmed with creation and starting with a blank slate. And so I'm doing it. I have paid somebody a very large sum of money to help me with this. And so I am going to gift my clients the benefit of a mini version of a plan that they can implement. So if you want to become my client and get in on this, we start June 2nd. You can go to soulfulsuccess.info, soulfulsuccess.info. And my community is full of self-leaders. My community is full of people, all different business ranges, from still working at corporate and just daydreaming to people that have been excellence in their field for 30 years. I have a whole lot of launch and growth. I have a whole lot of achievement plays, but the one thing all my people do is they take self-responsibility and ownership and creator of their life. And from time to time when they forget, all I have to do is remind them, and they create power. Hey, Keisha, good to see you. Lydia, I'm watching Lydia do this right now. I am watching this woman who came to me and had never had coaching before and kept thinking it was outside and kept wanting me to do it. And Lydia, I'm so fucking proud of you for realizing that your success doesn't come from the outside and it doesn't come from the plan. It comes from the inside and the willingness to experiment with your plan going forward. And then you start to realize that you are the decider. Your dreams are the motivator, not me, not me as your coach. I love coaching. I love being alongside you for the journey, but I cannot drag your ass into action. I got my own action to take. And so I just wanted to share that concept with you of not using shame, blame, and guilt disguised as accountability coaching to cause your clients, we're already afraid enough. I don't know about you, but anytime I am off my rocker, I can do a check and say, what am I afraid of? What if I am having an argument with my husband? I guarantee you I'm afraid he's going to leave, which is not about him. If I am stressed about business, I'm afraid it's going to fail. It's always fear. And my fear of failure has never created success. Nothing sustainable. But when I recognize and meet those fears, instead of having a coach who heaps them on to me, and when I give my clients choice, and yes, sometimes my clients make shitty choices. You know what? Sometimes a shitty choice is the best thing for my clients to make. I am not here to ensure that they make perfect choices. Sometimes clients quit midstream. Sometimes you have a one-on-one agreement with somebody and halfway through they decide, I quit. I can either shame, blame, and guilt them. I can be the enforcer. I am not an enforcer. I am a coach. And even in the quitting, if after we've explored, what's changed? What's different from you? I'd like for you to stay. I think this is resistance. It may not be. What do you think? And if they decide, I quit a coach once in the middle of agreement. I quit a coach. Stacy, I am so sorry. Stacy Warner, I will call her out. She's an amazing coach. And I hired her and she called me on some of my shit in a very loving way. And I wasn't ready to deal with it. And so I quit. And you know what? It didn't serve her, but it did serve me, because later I realized what my quitting, when my ego got out of the way, I realized and learned a lesson from my quitting. I learned how I was screwing up. Not how Stacy was a bad coach. I learned how I was not being coachable. And so even in the quitting, and so that's why I will not, risk saying out here, I set up contracts, I set up agreements, but if at the end of the day, it's not working for you, God bless you. God bless me. Let's work out something fair and go forward. But I am not going to be the enforcer. I have enough of my own life and I don't want to enforce anything in my life. I want to create. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you for popping on and spending time with me today. It's nice to know that my business page lives are getting a little bit of traction. For those of you in Soulful Success, I'm going to work on really finding a way to simplify this if you want to play this 90-day game with me and Christy. And those of you who want to come be a part of the 90-day game, Soulful Success is $222 a month for live coaching, classes, community, membership, good shit, and more content than you could ever need in the libraries. So with that, I love you guys. If you're interested in joining Soulful Success and playing this 90-day game, let me know. And if you have any thoughts about using shame, blame, and guilt in coaching, I would love to hear them. Maybe you think I'm wrong. I ain't gonna beat your ass to make your shit work. It's not how I roll. Love you guys. Bye-bye.